lesson. We are back for another lesson, and this week we are going to be working on shapes. So we worked on background, we worked on texture. This week we're going to be coming in and we are going to create kind of like a poster. So what I want you to do is we are going to write out the word be, or the words be kind, okay? So I'm gonna get my cardboard and we're gonna work on some block lettering today, but don't worry, it's not as hard as it probably seems. And we're gonna make these some really simple shapes, okay? So what I want you to do, we're gonna write it the right way first, and then we gotta reverse it so that when we print it, it looks right, okay? So let's go with kind of a big line here, okay? Let me write this in Sharpie so you can see it on my cardboard, all right? So I've got a big line there, and then I'm gonna do a 3, okay? So just like that, that's what we're gonna do our B as, okay? And then another big line here, and then we're gonna make a rectangle for our E, okay? So now what I want you to do in here is we're gonna make a squared off U here and a squared off U here, all right? And then I'll show you what to cut out here in just a little bit, okay? Next, we're gonna make a K. We're gonna do be kind, so we're gonna make a K. So I'm gonna do a big line there, and we're gonna go across right there, and across right there. We're gonna come down a little ways and up a little ways. So it almost looks like a C right now, okay? We're gonna do a diagonal line here, diagonal line there, diagonal line there, and a diagonal line there, okay? Do you see where our K is coming in? Then we're gonna do a line there and there, and that's our K. Easy peasy, right? Okay, so our I, you can do either a capital I, or if you are feeling spunky today, you could do an I with a dot at the top of it, okay? So for our N, we're gonna go big like that, and we're gonna go across like that, all right? We're gonna come down at a diagonal and go up there. We're gonna come down at a diagonal and go up there. We're gonna come across and across, and we're gonna go down, okay? Now, if you didn't get that the first time, pause the video, go back through and watch every step each time you need to, okay? However many times you need to do that, you do that, okay? And then for our D, we are just gonna do a 1 and a backward C, all right? So here are our letters. Now I'm ready to cut these out, and we're gonna get these ready to print, all right? So here's what I'm gonna do. I always try and cut simple shapes first, and so I always cut this down to a smaller size because it's easier to do that than it is to try and cut off of this big old piece of cardboard. And so I wanna make sure that I am making it easier to cut it out as I go, okay? Now, your jelly plate is a different size than mine, so your letters may have to be a little smaller. If you don't wanna do a whole phrase, you can just do one letter. If you wanna do the first letter of your name, that would be awesome. You would have something really fun to hang in your room, put in a frame. You could do the word mom, you could do the word dad, you could do a friend's name, totally up to you, all right? So there's my rectangle that I did earlier, remember that? All right, now all I've gotta do is come in and cut to those lines, all right? I'm not cutting all the way through, just to the lines that I drew earlier, all right? Now, here is the fun part. I can bend these back, and then I can just come in and cut this off just like that, okay? And it's gonna create the look of that E, all right? And then I can come in and cut that one off as well. Kind of missed some of that piece, so let me me go in and get that. Okay, so there's my E right there, okay? So now I'm gonna come in and cut out my B. Like always, I'm gonna get those simple shapes first, simple lines first. Then I'm gonna cut out that 3 that I drew. So, like I said, you do whatever you want to do as far as letters go. This is a really fun way to make a print on your Gelli plate. All right, so I have my B and my E. I'm not gonna put these on there just yet because I'm gonna do something before I put these on there. All right, so we're gonna finish cutting these out and we'll come back when we're done. Okay, so I threw away my scraps and now I am going to start laying this out here in just a second. But first, I want to lay down some red paint. So we did our background already. Now, I could go in and do this where my letters are gonna be red, or I can do this where like this whole piece will be red and you just see the background through the letters. So that's the way mine's gonna be. You're gonna see the background through the letters, everything else will be red, and you'll just be seeing that part of it. All right, so I'm cleaning off my brayer some, and I am gonna just lay down some red paint on here. There may be some other colors mixed in with this a little bit. Again, it doesn't have to be super thick on here, okay? I do have a little bit of water on here, so that may actually help with watering this down some. But I do want to make sure that everything is covered. Now, when I get ready to print letters, they have to be backwards or they're not going to show up just right, okay? So here's how I'm gonna decide which way I need these to go. I'm gonna actually lay these out the way that I want them to be on here. Let's see, let me get my eye right there. And then there's that. All right, so this is what you're gonna have when you get done, okay? So what I want to do is, I know I've got to reverse this. I've got to flip it over, okay? So wherever this is on here, it's going to have to be the opposite, and it's going to have to be turned over on here, okay, on the plate itself. So what I want to do is I'm going to start by just flipping these around one by one. All right, and I know I may not get these back in the exact spot that they were in, and if I don't, that's okay. You don't want to move around too terribly much, because as you can see, like when it lays down on there, it's gonna start picking up that paint, okay? So I'm just making sure that these are stuck on there and that they're good to go. And then I'm actually gonna do mine off to the side just a little bit, okay? So now you can see how that's gonna show up the right way when I do this. Okay, so now I'm gonna just kind of line this up close to where I had it before. It doesn't have to be exact. And what I wanna do is I'm rubbing gently because I don't wanna move that cardboard underneath. So I'm really wanting to rub all around it instead of where it is. So in between my letters, I want to make sure that I'm getting all of this on here so that just my letters show through the background. All right. Let's see how we're looking. Yeah, there we go. All right, so now when I flip this over, I have a really cool background with a top layer on top of it. Now, I love the fact that these don't line up exactly. I think that's really cool. So you do this however you want it to be. If you want to line up your paper, just draw yourself a line around the corner so that you know exactly where to line your paper up with your mat. All right, so let's see what we've got with these letters on here, and you can see that it printed those on the cardboard. All right, now I do still have the outline of these letters. So let me show you another trick if you want to do this on something else, okay, before you wash this off. Okay, so I've got the outline of those letters. If I wanted to, I could very easily clean that off a little bit. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with that teal. Okay. And I'm going to go this direction with this. Let's just see what we get. Because if we go kind of thin on here, we may still be able to see the outline of those letters. So I'm just grabbing a scrap piece of paper. It doesn't have to be something that you've already printed on. It could be something that you have printed on. Totally up to you. All right, so I'm just trying to get the rest of this paint to go onto my paper. And check that out. So now I have the outline of my letters on here, and that looks just as cool as the one that I cut them out with. All right, so we have both of these types of prints, which both are really cool. So it's totally up to you, whichever way you want to do this. You can do both. You just play around with this and have some fun. All right, if you don't want to do letters, you can do whatever kind of shape you want and just have some fun with it. All right, I can't wait to see what you create. Have fun.